Before the TV show, there was... The Walking Dead, the 1984 novel by Guy N. Smith. This is the one and only sequel so far to The Sucking Pit. The plot. So it has been 9 years, practically 10, since the first encounter with the Sucking Pit, and, well, strange things are occurring again. As people are disappearing from the town and around the area. So, Chris Latimer has returned. And along with some friends, he has to try and stop the terror, the horror, the monstrosities of the Sucking Pit. So basically, it's just the Sucking Pit, but nearly 10 years later. Interesting. This book is a bit longer than the usual Guy N. Smith fare. It starts on page 5, so he cut off that. It was originally 160. But it is still entertaining as the first Sucking Pit. Its consistent action and horror sequences really ramp up the enjoyment factor. We have returning characters, such as Chris Latimer, as I said it before, but spoilers, that's just... drink mix, the red thumb. Sorry. We also have Jenny Lawson returning, as well as Cornelius. Unfortunately, Pat Rowland does not return, as she and Chris are not married anymore. I think there was a mention of her cheating on him, which is kind of disappointing. As for the returning characters, they are basically here to do the same thing they did in the original Sucking Pit. We also get new characters such as Carl and Samantha. Carl is a country singer and Samantha is his girlfriend. They also have a friend named Pamela, whom Chris takes a liking to, which makes it kind of pointless to have gotten rid of Pat Rowland just to have Chris have another first encounter with a woman all over again. Ralph Grafton is also a new character who is permitting the deconstruction of the Sucking Pit, unaware of the horrors below. Spoilers, Jenny Lawson and Cornelius are spirits inhabiting the Sucking Pit because they died at the end of the first book. And spoilers. While the intention is to lure people to the Sucking Pit, and it is the main story, I couldn't help but feel it wasn't as important to the story's structure. If anything, the motive took a back seat to the other happenings. It wasn't strong enough to carry the story. Therefore, we are treated to several scenes of people being lured to the Sucking Pit, but it doesn't feel that important after the second or third time. There are some creepy scenarios, I will not lie, but there are also some possible plot lines that never happen that would have been so cool, such as a priest coming to exorcise the Sucking Pit. That is only mentioned to be an option, an idea that might work. It is said in passing. Even with the lack of threat and executions, there are scenes, like I said, that are still genuinely creepy. One scene involved a bulldozer that falls into the Sucking Pit, and the guy inside, Mike, hears a tapping on the glass enclosure. It was really freaky, especially when we find out who is tapping on that glass. The book has a number of creepy moments, like when Claude Minworth is told to kill his wife. It is all pretty savage. The gore, we get hackings, stabbings, and decapitation, and more. There's a lot more description of people's thoughts while being near or thinking of the Sucking Pit. It does things to people, changes them for the worse. With all that insanity being said, you'd think the ending would be rewarding. However, it felt a bit lackluster and unclear. I guess lightning is on our side? I don't know. With a weak story, some even weaker characters, and a downer of an ending, I'd say this book wasn't good. However, it was written to entertain, and that is exactly what it does. Sex, sin, and suffering. That's what makes a great Guy Smith book, and that this one does deliver. Still, it has its problems. Overall, I give The Walking Dead a 2.5 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. The links are in the description below. And to leave comments and subscribe.